with silver nitrate. So they half open and then they rot from the inside. And the reason they rot from the inside is the fungicide never got there.
Wow.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, hideous.
So when I see a bride walking down the aisle coyly dipping her nose in her imported roses, I just want to go, don't do it, you don't know what you're breathing in. Or worse, people have lovely rose petals and they scatter them on cakes or they put them in champagne. And you're like, no, you don't know where that rose has been.
No, that's terrible. I mean, you don't... This is the problem with everything. A lot of things, you just don't stop and think. It's only when you hear somebody like you who knows kind of the backstory that you actually go, oh, God, what have you been doing?
I don't think anything is anybody's fault, especially. It's just a system that grows conveniently to suit a market. So the people growing the roses, people cutting the roses, there is a market out there that wants to buy them. But having said that, the more people who wake up and would rather smell roses than not be able to smell them because they've been overtreated with silver nitrate, so they have no scent. You know, every time anybody thinks twice, that's one more time that we don't do something terrible to the earth. And that's the only way we can do it, isn't it?
Yes, I agree. We've got to vote with our feet, definitely.
Yeah, we've just got to, exactly. I mean, and it's just millions and millions and millions and millions of small gestures change the world.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's encouraging. So on that point, I was going to ask you later, actually, but I might ask you now. What are your favourite scented flowers to grow?
Oh, well, in front of me, I have got a big bowl of sweet peas, which really are why I started the whole business. And the scent of sweet peas it's like when you get your first one of the season, I sort of walk around with it in front of my nose, getting drunk on it. And then by the end of the season, I'm sort of nose blind to it.
Oh.
The sweet peas are amazing, and I love roses. They're really fantastic. But also, I've been cutting a lot of sweet rocket recently, and I turn the corner into that patch of the garden, and I can smell it before I can see it. And Sweet William and the pinks at this time of year are absolutely fantastic.
Oh, they are, yeah.
But there are all sorts of funny other smells. Like, I love the smell of Ami Majus when you cut it. It's a sort of very green, rubbery smell. And I love the smell of when you first cut dahlias. The cutting of them has a really interesting scent. So not so sweet necessarily, but, you know, interesting. And I love to put dill in bouquets because I love the smell of dill.
Oh, I do too, yeah. Yeah, I really love it.
Yeah. There's so much, isn't there? You walk around the garden and you're like, oh, I have a bit of that, I have a bit of that. And it all smells delicious. Last winter I did the most successful foliage in the garden was bay last winter. I think maybe because my bay was maturing a bit and finally there was quite a lot to cut. And, oh my gosh, the scent of fresh bay in the winter is just magic.
Well, actually, that, again, takes me on to another question, which was you have got a chapter in your book about shrubs, and you say quite rightly that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think that they were involved in cut flowers, but obviously they are. And what are some of your favourite ones to use?
Well, my absolute favourite are 2 or 3 different kinds of Physocarpus. I think if you have a cut flower patch, I would hedge it in Physocarpus. And I don't know if it's got an ordinary name. But there's a lovely yellow one called Darts Gold, which is brilliant, a really good zingy yellow. And then there's Diablo, which is that lovely dark red. And they're just the most useful. I think they're fantastic. For the winter, I would have Brachioglottis, which sounds a bit supermarket car park. But silver foliage is really great, and it doesn't mind being cut, and you can put it in your Christmas wreath, and it's really, really useful.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I was thinking as well, at some points in the year, there must be times when everything's not quite so abundant. Are there things that really, like you said, the bay, are there things that really get you through those leaner periods?
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm lucky in the winter. We have a 30-week season, so we start on the 1st of April, aim to have a fully functioning, producing cut flower patch on the 1st of April until about the 15th of November. And then between the 15th of November and the 1st of April the next year, our Cornish colleagues keep us going because they don't freeze and they don't necessarily heat their tunnels, but they have a lot under cover and it's just protected from the weather. And so we'll have ranunculus and lovely anemones and narcissi and all those gorgeous things all the way through the winter. They are fantastic. Without them, we would get stuck. But the idea is, in the 30 weeks that we do have a cut flower patch in full flower, the skill is to keep sowing seed, because you will run out otherwise. If you think you can put a cut flower patch in April and sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labours until November, then the answer is no. So during that 30-week season, I chopped my season up into 5 patches, 6 weeks long, and I aim to have 5 chunks of flowers to cut.
Okay, so it's a constant cycle.
It's a constant cycle, yeah. So this lovely rain that we're supposed to be getting later on, if it hasn't rained yet, by the time I've finished spoken to you and I've done my flowers and got them boxed up ready to go, this weekend I've planted nearly 1,000 gladiolus.
Wow.
A bit late,
yeah.
But think about it, glads flower 100 days-ish after you plant them. So I'm going to have a nice crop for mid-September onwards. So a month ago, I put the first 1,000 in. I'm now putting another 1,000 in.
Wow.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, so in a garden, you would do all that in one go. But for you, you've got to stagger it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of organisation.
I stagger everything. So I'm beginning to clear the first of the biennials. So things like my wallflowers are going to come out. So I've got some little patches of empty space. So I am, hopefully before the end of this week, all my leftover zinnia seed and cosmos seed and everything will go straight in the ground. So it's a final fling. Literally flinging it. Use up. I've got 5 of those. Let's throw them in.
Well, you've got to make the most of your space. If you're doing it commercially, then obviously you've got to, If I have empty beds, then weeds grow there, and I don't want to grow weeds. No, quite. So this is always a question that I'm faced with when I did a little tiny bit of flower arranging. I'm not an expert by any stretch. But people say to me, is there anything you absolutely cannot use as a cut flower? And are there things that we've been taught that you can't use as a cut flower, but actually you can, it's just the conditioning? Can you think of any sort of prime examples of that?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have never been able to condition is acanthus leaves. I've tried nearly everything in my garden. Will be fine. Acanthus leaves, I just haven't ever made them work. But I have to say I haven't tried for a while, and I expect, being a bit more experienced now, I might be able to do it. I mean, they're kind of large and exciting structurally, but I'm not sure I'd need them anyway. But I would say that there is nothing in the garden that is sacred. I would cut absolutely everything. I'd give it a go. The skill, however, is not cutting at a bad time. So don't cut in the middle of the day when it's boiling hot and the sun on the back of your head, and then walk around with something out of water for half an hour and expect it to recover. I would say always cut early in the morning when the sun is not hot on your head yet, and cut straight into water. So if you're going to do it at all, even on a small scale, I would have a little trolley, and I'd put buckets of water in my trolley and set off in the sparkling dawn and cut the flowers straight into water. So I cut them, I strip the foliage, I cut them at an angle, I get them straight into water, and as a result, I very rarely even sear anything.
I'll tell you what I've never, ever got on with is Cotinus, which is a shame because it's amazing.
Ah,
really
yes, well...
I'm doing it all wrong, aren't I?
It's a question, I think, far be it for me to tell other people how to do it, but I think Cotinus is very sappy and full of new growth really until quite late in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And people love it because it has these gorgeous big round leaves and it smells delicious when you cut it. Again, it's one of those rubbery, gorgeous, rich scents. I would say don't cut Cotinus at all. Don't use it in floristry until late in the season. So I won't cut mine until at least September.
Ah, yes.
Because the sap has stopped rising and the leaves are mature and they hold really nicely.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, I've got not a clue. I literally just go around with secateurs and just hack into things. So, yeah, any advice is welcome.
Well, anything with large, if you think about it sort of logically, anything with really large leaves that transpire a lot early in the season are going to be floppy because they lose a lot of water out of their leaves and drink slowly up their stems. So things like the physocarpus, which they're not enormous leaves and they can be quite floppy, but also you tend to cut physocarpus on new growth. So it starts shooting quite early in the season, and I'm cutting it now, and I'm cutting 25, 30-inch stems, which is new growth. So that growth is really happy to drink because it's not woody. Whereas if I were cutting Cotinus now, I would be cutting very big leaves, and they haven't really grown their long new stems for the year yet. So you'd be cutting into wood, which is a much less spongy material for it to drink up. And then it transpires a lot from the big leaves and drinks more slowly and flops.
Okay. You've really made an art of it. I love the fact that you're observing everything and you're almost treating it as a research project. It's brilliant, which is why your books are so good, because it's just clear information based on your knowledge, which I love. So one last question I was going to ask you, which is, I'm always mindful that not everybody who's listening has got a great patch of land or a big one. If you had a really small garden or even a balcony and you only had room for maybe a few pots, what would you put in them?
I would always grow sweet peas because they're so quick and easy. But if I was growing them in pots or a dry garden, they need very rich, moisture-retaining compost. So I wouldn't ever plant a sweet pea seed in an old pot. I'm always telling people that seeds, it's really worth giving them what I call cashmere blankets. So, because, you know, if you're propagating babies, give them a cashmere blanket like you might a real baby. So have some really lovely, expensive, posh, smarty pants, peat-free compost and keep it really, really well watered, and the sweet peas should get away and do really well. So I would have sweet peas, and if I had no space, sweet peas, I would grow Ami Majus because I love the froth of it. You know, if I had no space at all, but I had to choose one umbellifer, I'd have Ami Majus, but again, if it were in a pot, it would need lots and lots of water because it would go over quickly. All annuals ever want to do is germinate, grow, flower, set seed and die. So having them in the garden to cut, we're sort of conning them into keeping them alive longer. I would then have a rose, and if I had no space at all, I would use a wall. And grow the rose up a wall, because I expect
you would find a
way. If you have no space, you've still got a wall.
Yeah.
So I might have something like a Shropshire Lad, which will flower all summer long. They're very, very heavy-headed roses, but you can use the rest of the material that you've got to support it in your arrangements. And then I would probably have a herb of some kind. Of all the herbs, if I was only going to have one, I'd have mint. And if I was only going to have one mint, I would have pineapple mint, which is variegated and very pretty and and lovely with a sweet pea, and it's a very soft, good colour.
Brilliant, that's fantastic. Oh, all right, one last question. What is the colour of choice for brides in 2020?
I have no idea.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I thought people might be coming to you already and saying, oh,
well, funny enough, whatever anybody says is the colour of choice and is the colour of the brides, it's never what they ask for.
Oh, interesting.
In my increasing experience, you know, this is a moment in November where everyone goes, oh, next year's Pantone. And this year's Pantone is hot coral, I think.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Or some kind of hot peachy colour. Nobody has asked me for hot peach.
Oh,
not
interesting.
One.
Fine, they're all playing it safe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think perhaps the way that we work makes us a bit unusual, but people, they will either ask for sort of, like my bride this weekend, I've got two, and this weekend is pink and orange, one, because they're having a sort of tropical wedding, so that's fine, it's all the pink and orange out of the garden, and the other one's all white.
Ah, okay.
And that's fine. And then the following weekend, there's lots of lilac this year, which is absolutely not the colour that the Pantone people say it is.
It's not at all.
And weirdly, I'm having a real thing for blue.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I suspect that when they say what the Pantone is in November, I bet it's a bluey colour.
Oh.
Because I had a real thing for peach last
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I still not quite got over that.
Yeah, and suddenly it's this year's colours. I don't think it makes us particularly brilliant, but we're all very influenced by what we see in the press and, you know, magazines and on telly. And it will be that there has been, over the last 18 months, 2 years, a lot of sort of peachy, corally colours, which have suddenly inspired us to like a colour that we might have thought was quite 1980s.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.